How's it going, guys? Ghostface Fanatic here. We're gonna be talking about Scream 6, and we're gonna be talking about if Stab will be like back into this film. So without further ado, let's get into it. Um, so Scream 6 obviously gets released next year, and a lot of people have been wondering if like Stab will be in the film again. Kind of similar to Scream 2, how, Scream 2 had an opening, the opening, scene was in the movie theater. So a lot of people were really wondering if this film is going to be in a movie theater and if this film is going to have Stab in it again. Like if the Stab films are going to be like a main factor and, going to be tied into this movie again, like, the other films, like the other three or the other four. Um, so I truly 100% think that it's very possible. Though I don't know if Radio Silence would go that route necessarily. Um, because everybody thinks that they're gonna copy Scream 2 in a lot of ways, and if they copy Scream 2, you know, it's gonna upset a lot of people. Like if they had like the same opening scene, they had the same kind of similar opening scene and all that, I think a lot of people would be upset because it's similar to Scream 2. Um, so I just want to talk about it for a little bit. As I said, Stab obviously, should be a main factor again into this film. But there's no guarantee to know. Like we don't know for sure. But if we're thinking that they're gonna make this like Scream 2, as I said, if this is gonna be like a direct sequel to Scream 2, something like that, and they're gonna add like a Mickey like character, they're gonna add like a Mickey like killer and all that. Um, I think really they could definitely add Stab into the film. Um, I think Stab could be like back into the film. They could tie that back in. Especially if they're gonna. I'm not saying to copy Scream 2. Obviously, you guys know my thoughts on that. I don't think that they should copy Scream 2 because Scream 2 obviously is a different film, and we've already seen that, and we don't need to be, basically, if you want to call it, I call it like remaking it, basically, like a remake, basically. If they do that, like, I'd call it a remake at that point, if they do that. Like, they copy, like, the scenes, and, let's just say Mindy dies the same way Randy dies. I don't know, man. But it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of, it's pointless at this point to make it like that. But I do want the Stab. I want Stab to be a main factor into this again because we haven't had Stab. Stab has not been a factor in these films since the fourth. Obviously since Scream 4, obviously, and it kind of a little upsetted me. It kind of upsetted me a little bit that they didn't add Stab into, Scream 5 in some ways, especially given the fact that they were showing tribute to Wes Craven. Um, but I kind of understand. I kind of understand in some ways, Um, and this film, especially if this film is going to be a sequel to Scream 2, as I said, they're going to have like a Derek. I heard there's going to be a character kind of like, a Derek. I'm going to touch on all this in another video, but I'm going to talk about, like I said, Stab right now. Like I said, Stab, obviously you guys don't know, is a parody of the Scream. It's not really a parody. It's within the Scream films. So like Scream 2, obviously, the opening scene where that girl, the blondie, was talking to Ghostface and all that, and it's kind of like a role reversal of Scream 1996 in some ways. You know what I mean? Kind of like, how in that one scene when Randy and Dewey were talking to each other, um, and they were watching the Stab film. Basically, it was kind of the same scene as Scream 1996, and it was Stab 2. It was Stab 2 or whatever, and basically they were um basically rehashing, basically like reenacting what happened in 90, like the same scene from 1996, basically. And like when Sydney and Billy were talking to each other and all that in the hallway, saying that it basically, that, you know what I mean, like that same scene, but it was just different actors, So I really do think that it's very, very, possible that they could do that similar to Scream 5. Like they could do something similar to it, you know, like the Stab film could be something similar to that. You know what I mean? But with just different actors. You know, they actually had a Stab reference in Scream 5. Obviously you guys don't know, like Mindy had the cover. She had the whole like the CD cover and all that, like the case. It was like a DVD and all that, and it had the Stab poster and obviously the ghost face, on the poster. Um, but give me guys' thoughts about like Stab coming back into these films, like you know, like having like all these posters and what do you guys think about all that? Because I think it's really cool, and I think that Stab should be, it should come back. I really do think it should. Especially if they're going to make this a direct sequel from Scream 2. And they're going to have, like I said, a Mickey-like character, a Derek-like character, as I said. Um, they have to tie it in. But let me know in the comment section what you guys think down below. With that being said, this is Ghostface Fanatic signing off. Peace.